was so afraid it might be, one of our kind of bears. A talking bear. She hated killing things. That's the trouble of it, said Trumpkin. When most of the beasts have gone enemy and gone dumb, but there are still some of the other kind left, you never know and you daren't wait to see. Poor old Bruin, said Susan. You don't think he was? Not he, said the dwarf. I saw his face. And I heard I saw the face, and I heard the snarl. He only wanted a little girl for his breakfast. And talking of breakfast, I didn't want to discourage your majesties when you said you hoped King Caspian would bring you a good one. But meat's precious scarce in camp, and there's good eating on that bear. It would be a shame to leave the carcass without taking a bit, and it won't delay us more than half an hour. I dare say you two youngsters, kings, I should say, know how to skin a bear? Let's go and sit down a fair way off, said Susan to Lucy. I know what a horrid, messy business that will be. Lucy shuddered and nodded. When they all sat down, she said, such a horrible idea has come into my head, Sue. What's that? Wouldn't it be dreadful if someday in our own world, at home, men started going wild inside, like the animals here, and still look like men, so that you never know which were which? We've got enough to bother about here and now in Narnia, said the practical Susan, without imagining things like that. When they rejoined the boys and the dwarf, as much as they thought they could carry of the best meat had been cut off. Raw meat is not a nice thing to fill one's pockets with, but they folded it up in fresh leaves and made the best of it. They were all experienced enough to know that they would feel quite differently about these squashy and unpleasant parcels when they had walked long enough to be really hungry. On they trudged again, stopping to wash 3 pairs of hands that needed it in the first stream they passed, until the sun rose and the birds began to sing, and more flies than they wanted were buzzing in the bracken. The stiffness from yesterday's rowing began to wear off. Everyone's spirits rose. The sun grew warmer, and they took their helmets off and carried them. I suppose we are going right? Said Edmund about an hour later. I don't see how we could go wrong as long as we don't bear too much to the left, said Peter. If we bear too much to the right, the worst that can happen is wasting a little time by striking the great river too soon, and not cutting off the corner. And again they trudged on with no sound except the thud of their feet and the jingle of their chain shirts. Where's this Ballyrush got to? Said Edmund a good deal later. I certainly thought we'd had struck it by now, said Peter, but there's nothing to do but keep on. They both knew that the dwarf was looking anxiously at them, but he said nothing. And still they trudged on, and their mail shirts began to feel very hot and heavy. What on earth? Said Peter suddenly. They had come, without seeing it, almost to the edge of a small precipice from which they looked down into a gorge with a river at the bottom. On the far side, the cliffs rose much higher. None of the party except Edmund, and perhaps Trumpkin, was a rock climber. I'm sorry, said Peter. It's my fault for coming this way. We're lost. I've never seen this place in my life before. The dwarf gave a low whistle between his teeth. Oh, let's go back and go the other way, said Susan. I knew all along we'd get lost in these woods. Susan, said Lucy reproachfully. Don't nag at Peter like that. It's so rotten, and he's doing all he can. And don't you snap at Sue like that either, said Edmund. I think she's quite right. Tubs and tortoise shells, exclaimed Trumpkin. If we've got lost coming, what chance have we got of finding our way back? And if we go back to the island and begin all over again, even supposing we could, we might as well give the whole thing up to Mirrors. Mirrors will have finished with Caspian before we get there at any rate. You think we ought to go on, said Lucy. I'm not sure the High King is lost, said Trumpkin. What's to hinder this river being the rush? Because the rush is not in a gorge, said Peter, keeping his temper with some difficulty. Your Majesty says is, replied the dwarf, but oughtn't you to say was? You knew this country hundreds, it may be 1,000 years ago. May it have not changed? A landslide might have pulled off half the side of the hill, leaving bare rock, and there are your precipices beyond the gorge. Then the rush might go on deepening its course year after year till you get the little precipices this side, or there might have been an earthquake or anything. I never thought of that, said Peter. And anyway, continued Trumpkin, even if there is not the rush, it's flowing roughly north, and so it must fall into the great river anyway. I think I passed something that might have been it on my way down, so if we go downstream on our right, we'll hit the great river. Perhaps not so high as we'd hoped, but at least we'd be no worse off than if you've come my way. Trumpkin, you're a brick, said Peter. Come on, then, down this side of the gorge. Look, 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 cried Lucy. Where? What? asked everyone. The lion, said Lucy. Ask himself. Didn't you see? Her face had changed completely and her eyes shone. Do you really mean? Began Peter. Where do you think you saw him? Asked Susan. Don't talk like a grown-up, said Lucy, stamping her foot. I didn't think I saw him. I saw him. Where, Lou? Asked Peter. Right up there between these mountain ashes. No, this side of the gorge. And not up, not down. Just the opposite of the way you want to go. And he wanted us to go where he was, up there. How do you know that's what he wanted? Asked Edmund. I just know, said Lucy, by his face. The others all looked at each other in puzzled silence. Her Majesty may have seen a lion, put in Trumpkin. There are lions in these woods, I've been told, but it needn't be a friendly and talking lion any more than a bear was a friendly and talking bear. No, don't be so stupid, said Lucy. Do you think I don't know Aslan when I see him? He'd be a pretty elderly lion by now, said Trumpkin, if he's the one you knew when you were here before, and if he could be the same one, what's to prevent him having gone wild and witless like so many others? Lucy turned crimson, and I think she would have flown at Trumpkin if Peter had not laid his arm on her. The DLF doesn't understand. How could he? You must just take it, Trumpkin. That we do... You must just take it, Trumpkin, that we do really know about Aslan. A little bit about him, I mean. And you mustn't talk about him like that again. It isn't lucky for one thing, and it's all nonsense for another. The only question is whether Aslan was really there. But I know he was, said Lucy, her eyes filling with tears. Yes, Lou, but we don't, you see, said Peter. There's nothing for it but a vote, said Edmund. All right, replied Peter. You're the eldest, DLF. What do you vote for, up or down? Down, said the dwarf. I know nothing about Aslan, but I do know that if we turn left and follow the gorge up, it might lead us all day before we find a place that we can cross it. Whereas if we turn right and go down, we're bound to reach the Great River in about a couple hours. And if there are any real lions about, we want to go away from them, not toward them. What do you say, Susan? Don't be angry, Lou, said Susan, but I do think we should go down. I'm dead tired. Do let's get out of this wretched wood into the open as quick as we can. And none of us except you saw anything. Edmund, said Peter. Well, there's just this, said Edmund, speaking quickly and turning a little red. When we first discovered Narnia a year ago, or 1,000 years ago, whichever it is, it was Lucy who discovered it first, and none of us would believe it. I was the worst of the lot, I know. Yet she was right, after all. Wouldn't it be fair to believe her this time? I vote for going up. Oh, Ed, said Lucy, and seized his hand. And now it's your turn, Peter, said Susan. And I do hope... Oh, shut up, and let a chap think, interrupted Peter. I'd much rather not have to vote. You're the High King, said Trumpkin sternly. Down, said Peter after a long pause. I know Lucy might be right after all, but I can't help it. We must do one or the other. So they set off to their right along the edge downstream, and Lucy came last of the party, crying bitterly. End of chapter 9. Yay! This is my scroll of music. Yes. Ooh, okay, here we are. Terry actually sells very cute. Okay, surprising. Thank you. Thanks for coming out, Tom. I appreciate it. Thanks for shouting out Tom and Toria. Both wonderful streamers who deserve your attention and your follows if you don't have them already. I could dub over this video right now if I wanted, or at a later point if I wanted to, because my mouth is not showing. Fun facts. I'm glad I'm here, but I'm overthinking because crying was going to happen when Tara wanted to. Oh, okay now. I'm sorry that you were overthinking and might have been crying. Don't mind me talking to my mug. Actually, I'm talking into a growled butt. As you can see. That's what I was talking into. I hope the stream improves your mood and things get better for you, Cass. Settles into enjoy the reading. Nailed it. First try. Totally nicknamed Paddywhack. Yeah, that's exactly how it's said. He's the handsome guy. Thank you both for these kind words. His joy is infected me. I can't stop smiling. My face hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for these terrible things that I do to people. Twang. Wow, men are coming around. Is this Yoshi's Woolly World music? Some of it is. I don't think all of it is, but some is. I think a lot of it is because it's like, I think it's a pretty recent playlist of music from it. Also, hey Goji, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Wonderful stream earlier, by the way. Props on beating Roxanne. I don't know how Sting would feel about it, but, you know, whatever. It's lucky you didn't have as many push-ups today. My poor little arms got weight today. Aw. Poor Rob arms. Did a little of this, did a little of that. Now I'm just relaxing before bedtime. Well, thanks for joining me to relax with. I would have tried to attempt the 80 with you last time, but that might have died from that. That's fair. I'm probably going to be up until 3 or 4 a.m. Sounds like me. Then I'll be awake at 8 and start digging. Sounds like me. A friendly and talking lion, eh? Would have managed just fine. I wish I didn't do 10 more than Goji did each time when I was doing the push-ups with you. I just would have had to pass out for a day. I mean, that's legit. I did 100 push-ups today. Totally. Now my arms fell off, so I'm just listening to the story time. That's fair. I hope your arms reattach or grow back. How are you typing? Has a vision of V smashing face and keyboard. I matched the ones from today. Props. Watch chapter 9. Thank you. I borrowed someone else's arm. Yay for a chapter. Haha. What you drinking, Tara? I don't even remember what it is. It's tea of some sort, but I don't remember what tea. Quality? Probably. Found these arms lying around. Are these yours? Hey, I recognize that mug. Yes, this is a mug that the wonderful, handsome, delightful, spectacular Goodnight Gojira kindly gave me as a Christmas gift when I visited V Budkey and Hem over New Year's. So here's the front with the Growly, the happy Growlithe, like my favorite Pokemons. And then he's busted on through, and you can see on the back side, there's his butt that I've been talking into. It's a very cute mug, and I thank him for it. And V Budkey also got me something very sweet as well. A little one of those Funko Pop figurines that was of Launchpad McQuack, one of my favorite cartoon characters, just in general. So I thank her for that as well. And thank you for shouting out Goji as well. He also deserves your love. Even if he doesn't stream. I have to reattach them. Duct tapes V's are that good. You always improve my mood. Well, I'm glad. Good is new. Hi Terry, I'm great and thank you. Double thank you. You think 6 times the charm. Whew. That's it. I can't stop smiling and laughing. It's all worth it though. I'm glad. Cheers to that. I shouldn't do that. But I'm gonna to. I'm gonna to. He's the best thing with a girl mug. I agree. Start seeing the growl is repeating everything Terry said. Growly! So crazy seeing Terry with a bald face. It's crazy for me to see it too, to be honest. I'm usually far too lazy to get rid of it. I'm sorry, that wasn't a very good Growlithe. Growlithe! There we go. That was way better. It wasn't the same exact thing I just did. I saw the command too. Thanks for that, Reddy. Alright, I'm all caught up, I think. So that's, It's not cold. It's fine. It's good.